Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I'm excited to share with you a first look at the 20th MOT-SCHUTZEN division, a new East German division available in the upcoming LANDJUT DLC. Let's jump on in. Just to note, what you see today is a work in progress and therefore subject to change. Let's go through all of the units and we'll put together a quick deck. So starting here in the logistics tab, we have ourselves the LO 1800 Ruber munition truck. Which is another new logistics truck, which is cool. I always like seeing new models in the game. This is a 600 supply truck with 10 on a card for 25 points. 100 km/h on-road, 85 km/h off-road. The off-road speed on this truck is crazy. Then we have the Euro, which is your standard Euro with the 1000 supply, 40.6 on a card. This is nowhere near as fast off-road, 60 km/h, 90 km/h on-road. And there's also the Kraz. 255B munition truck, which is a 2000 supply truck for 60 points, and you get 3 on a card. 90 km/h off-road and 65 km/h on-road, so that's even faster off-road than the Euro, which is crazy for such a big truck. But yeah, decent amount of supply and really good supply options for the trucks. Then we've got the MT LBU, which is a 40-point command. It is slow. It has limited armor, but it is cheap, 2 on a card. Another one of those sort of cheap units that are useful in 1v1 for capping sectors, but in team games where you're only probably capping 1 or 2 sectors, or maybe just one, it's usually not so good. You probably want to be focusing on something that's faster and has more armor and more utility. This is alright, but kind of a naff card otherwise compared to getting 3 UAZ on a card. This one has resolute trait, but yeah, 100 km/h on-road, 60 km/h off-road, not too bad. Then we have the SPW 40P2, which is a 90-point armored command, 60 km/h off-road, 100 km/h on-road with resolute. And then we've got the SPW 60PUM, which is slightly faster off-road with 65 km/h speed, 100 km/h on-road. Big difference here though. This vehicle has mediocre stealth, which is actually really helpful for a leader unit, whereas this one has bad, so it's going to get spotted easier in a sector that you're trying to contest, whereas this one will not. It does have less health, like quite a substantial amount less health, but you still got that armor that's going to protect you against stray artillery shells. This is a really nice middle ground as an option, and there's 3 on a card as well, so I like it. Finally, option for the Feld Depot, if you want it. And moving on to the infantry tab, we have ourselves PKM squads. These have never really been very good, lacking DPS, but 15 points, 12 on a card, do have resolute trait. And then we got the grenade launcher, which does actually in this case have security trait. So your optics are going from normal to good, and on a grenade launcher that has 1400 meter range, that could be kind of useful. Especially like for protecting flanks against Recon infantry, or just like providing support for the front line. That's a nice difference actually, having the security trait on that grenade launcher. Right, now we've got the military place again, so a UAZ is an option, but they've also got another new truck that's been added to the game. Look at that thing. Crazy. Military police vehicle with military police trait. The UAZ doesn't have the military police trait. I would almost always take the one with the military police trait, right? It just gives you extra vehicles that can be spread around to reduce or increase, sorry, suppression regeneration. And then we got military police with MGs. So this is a 7-man squad of resolute military police. They can be brought in with the LO 1800 or the or the car here, the B1000. Another really interesting looking vehicle. It makes you wonder how they all fit in there, but either way, this squad not very good because it doesn't have any AT option, don't have any like AA or anything. It's just they're going to get run down by any vehicle very easily indeed. But we do have the Sicherungs, so 7-man squad. Resolute security trait, like it. 6 AKs with the MG and the RPG-18. Now the pen on these RPG-18s is very low at 13, but they do fire very fast because they fire and forget. 45% accuracy, 675 meter range. Yeah, not bad. And then you got option of the truck, SPW60PB also with Resolute trait. That KPVT can be pretty nasty, and then MI2 as an option. And then we've got the VPB. These guys are a 10-man squad with 9 rifles, the MG and the RPG-7VM, which has extra range. Actually, I think it's the same range. Never mind, it's not extra range. 14 pen, 55% accuracy, so slightly more accuracy, but less rate of fire. Security trait, but not resolute. Still a decent squad, I think, for 50 points, but can't upvet them or anything. Then we got the Reservistenführer. 8-man squad with Estrella 2M. I don't know how I feel about it. For 65 points, you get 3 on a card. In terms of like numbers, it's okay. But I wish they had smoke. I really do. Either way, Elo again as the transport and the SPW60PA, which does have the Dushka, which is another, again, nice fire support weapon for 25 points. But then we have the Reservisten squads, which are the same as the ones in KDA and Rugana. So 7 rifles, 2 MGs, RPG 7VM for 45 points. And in this case, even though it says like they're called Reservisten, they don't actually have a reserve trait, so they're pretty good. And then we have the MG version, which is pretty trash because again, any squad that just has like arms and not any AT is kind of bad. I haven't really ever seen a use for them in the game. Right, moving on, we have the MOT-SCHUTZEN, a 4-man squad with an RPG-18 and smoke grenade. They have Resolute, the IFE infantry trait, transports SPW60PB. There is of course the truck, but the SPW50PK and then the BMP1. So you can get a BMP1 that activates the IFE infantry trait. Not that you probably want to, because if these are in combat, they're probably dead already. But that's a lot of traits for a BMP1. It's got the transport trait, the resolute trait, the IFE infantry trait, the amphibious trait, and the smoke launcher trait. Right, MOT-SCHUTZEN, classic. 45-point squad, resolute, IFE infantry trait, has the RPG-7VL with 18 pen, 55% accuracy, relatively low rate of fire, but 7 light arms with option to bring in BMP1s. Like it's a nice option just for like spamming in BMP1s, honestly. And again, this BMP1 has all of the traits there. And then we got the MOT-SCHUTZEN BTR, which is an 8-man squad instead of a 7-man squad. So they're forced to be brought in with the SPW60PB, which does have the KPVT still. But yeah, slightly more resilient, I would say, because of the extra man, but they do lose the IFE infantry trait. So in that case, maybe not as resilient because they're going to get suppressed quicker if they're not by a BMP. And it depends, like how you use these. So if you have the BMP nearby, then the MOT-SCHUTZEN will be better. Otherwise, MOT-SCHUTZEN BTR are better. Then we have the Monostrelki BMP, which is the Russians, or the Soviets, I should say. They are coming in as a 7-man squad with the 6 AKs, RPK, and then the RPG-7VL again. So very similar in loadout to the MOT-SCHUTZEN. In terms of transports though, Gaz, BMP-1P, which actually gets an HGM, the Fargo M, and the BMP-2 is an option as well, which is a nice option, honestly, to have as a supplementary unit. And then we got the Panzerjäger. So these have the RPG-7VR with the tandem anti-tank. So 20 pen on each of those, 55% accuracy, Still only 10 round per minute rate of fire, but since you got 2, it certainly helps. And transport-wise, truck, SPW 60PP, SPW 50PK, and the BMP-1. These BMP-1s, they don't have any HGMs, so that is something to certainly point out and consider when you're using them. But otherwise, pretty simple, strong AT squad if you can get it in range. Then we got the Pioneer Führer, which is a 4-man team with a RPG-7VL, shock trait, resolute trait. Obviously, you can defend themselves well against armor, but otherwise not too good as a leader. So it's like low health, no smoke. Like that's kind of the things that I'm thinking about. Then we got the Pioneers, so 8-man squad with AKs, PKM, and grenade launcher. The thing I don't like about this Pioneer squad is they use a PKM rather than RPK, which is annoying because the PKM needs to be stationary to be fired. So you're not going to get DPS while you're charging down the enemy to get shock trait and satchel activated. And then we got the Pioneer with the flamethrower, which again struggles because of the PKM, but at least they like engaging at range most of the time. So like this isn't as bad. And then we got the SPG-9, which again in pairs can be pretty good. I was just checking the transports on these, but nothing really special to show. It's just the SPW 50PK in this truck. The SPG-9 can come in with the SPW 60PA or the 60PB. And then there's also HGMs, so the Fargo with the, again, same transports as before. I feel like the infantry in general here is a bit lackluster, but it's certainly spammable. There's going to be a lot of it. All right, artillery tab. 120mm mortars. As I mentioned before, going to be slightly better for HE now after the rework, but still just as useful for smoke, so probably something worth considering if there's not a mobile version of them. MTLB is fine. Give them the armored transport so they're more resilient to counter battery. Then we got the SPW 50PK, which is a solid anti-infantry unit. Like in a forest engagement or even a town engagement, these can just wipe infantry squads very quickly. They're very worth using, and you can use them amongst smoke. So like if you were to use these in a town, you might want to like have the 120mm mortar drop in smoke, and then you can move this up, fire them, and then move them back, because you might have sight lines that would get these kills. Get them killed by the enemy, I mean. So yeah, be careful because of the short range is the main thing to worry about there. But otherwise, pretty strong. Then we got the 122mm. There's actually 3 cards of these available with 4 on a card. And there's 2 cards available of these with 2 on a card. The 122s kind of lack damage, but 2.2 at 15k, I guess en masse is going to be okay, like a pretty decent damage. But the 152 is probably more reliable with 3.04 damage at 17 kilometer range. And again, you got the option of a truck, which is faster, but then you've got the MTRB, which has the armor. So I would say the armor is definitely more useful to help you survive counter battery. Then we've got the Gvozdyka, which is your standard 122mm self-propelled gun, and then the artillery. So a 220mm rocket launcher, or sorry, 220-point rocket launcher with 122mm rockets. It's kind of like a standard grad. It has a salvo length of 40, so it's firing all 40 at once if you don't stop it manually. Yeah, it's just a grad basically. And then you got the NAPALM one, which is also available in KDA. 320 points. Really nasty piece of work. And honestly, we don't need more of these in 10v10, but now we do have them. So, or at least we will when this DLC comes out. Yeah. Very nasty piece of kit. Don't drive into the flames of these because you will die. All right, moving on to the tank tab. Maljutka. SPW 40P2 I like these because of the good stealth. The Maluka P itself is kind of rough. I mean, the side penetration damage is pretty good. Like, you're going to do a lot of damage in the side armor with 17 pen. But in the front armor, for a lot of like heavier tanks, you're not going to do any damage. 2,625 meter range is decent enough with 50% accuracy. And there's also the Conquer's version, which gets the extra penetration there. I guess the other nice thing here is these have better rate of fire, so that's kind of useful. But I do like the 70-point Conquer's SPW40 as well. Again, good stealth, decent pen, definitely packing a bit more of a punch. Yeah, great utility unit. Then we got the 100mm AT gun. Doesn't have the Bastion HGM, so yeah, not too useful in that sense. But it does have 2,100 meter range with 16 pen, 50% accuracy. Certainly going to be chipping damage at range. Then there's the T54 AMK. So T54s are all right, but we do have reserve ones, but they don't have reserve traits. So 14 pen, 11 front armor for 65 points seems very worth it, especially a triple machine gun boy. It's going to hit infantry very well. Yeah, these could be kind of nice, especially if used with smoke. Kind of slow off-road at 45 km/h speed, but otherwise, yeah, not too bad. And the normal T55s aren't any faster, to be honest. Let's just have a look at the comparison here. So a 90-point tank, T55A, is giving you resolute trait. You're getting extra 2 penetration on the gun, but the rate of fire and accuracy is the same. You're losing a PKT. Your armor's the same. Yeah, I feel like this is such good value for 65 points if this is 90 points. Yes, the resolute trait's going to help in like longer engagements, but you're not going to be in longer engagements for long with a T55. Let's just put it that way. All right, T72 is also an option. None of these have smoke, so do bear that in mind. When you're playing these engagements, you're going to have to provide your own smoke through artillery because these can't smoke for themselves. But 19 pen, 1,925 meter range is good damage. 130 points, 15 front armor, 55% accuracy. Like it's scary if it gets in range, for sure. So nothing to scoff at. And then there's T64s. So T64s, getting those nicer guns, nicer armor. This is the leader variant of this. So we are losing actually a machine gun on the leader variant. Interesting. The NSVT is not on the leader variant. Okay, well, for 170 points, 16 front armor, 20 penetration at 1,925 meter range, this is kind of rough. 55% accuracy, 10 round per minute rate of fire is very good. And it is an auto loader. So that is something to point out for sure. I don't know how it's actually going to perform though. Like this is very short range. You're going to have to kind of smoke it into range again. T64 AV though gets a slightly better range, but less penetration. So it's like 2,100 meter range with 19 pen. And you're also getting the explosive reactive armor, so you're getting a little bit of extra health. Is that worth like a whole 25 points more? I don't know. I guess the range is quite a big difference, so probably. Either way, this is your best tank, and you probably want to bring it. Moving on to the Recon, we have the Reserve Aufkläder. It's a 3-man Recon squad with very good optics. It can be brought in with an amphibious SPW40P, which is a good optic car with good stealth itself, so it can be used as like a nice flanky Recon. Then there's a MOT-SCHUTZEN with the 7 strength, 6 AKs, MG, RPG 18 with 13 pen. 630 or 675 meter range, 45% accuracy. I mean, standard stuff. They're going to be useful for like spreading at the start of the game. But you can bring them in the truck, you can bring them in the Avkada BMP-1, which does get a Malyutka, which is nice. Or you can even bring them in helicopters, and one with rockets, one without. One with rockets has 95 points, doesn't have any ECM, and it's only 8 health. SPW-40P2, underrated little unit, 35 points, very good for spreading around the map, great for killing infantry. PT-76, really trash, only 10 penetration, 1,925 meter range, really slow, 40 km per hour off-road. Does have resolute trait though. BRM-1K, very useful, exceptional optics for 50 points, is really nice for supplementing your tanks and stopping them getting ambushed. You got a reasonable gun. I mean, it's a BMP-1 gun, so what can you expect? But yeah, I mean, you got smoke, so it can smoke itself and get back into cover if it gets caught out. Then we have the VulcanHDGaming. Okay, it's a 3-man squad with very good optics, exceptional stealth. They have a Strela 2M, but they do have SIGINT and Resolute. So this is the sort of unit you're just dropping on your flank. Now you're forced to bring them in with the Mi-24D, which is a good optic Mi-24 with a Phalange AGGM. This is a nice combo. Like, again, you're using these on the flank, right? So you drop off the Recon on the flank, so you're utilizing the SIGINT trait. On like big team games, it's going to be really useful. And then you can actually like try and flank all the way around with the Mi-24. Yeah, interesting. So Mi-24 is actually kind of weak though, like no ECM, 8 damage. It does have a little bit of armor though, so yeah. Very, very interesting squads. And then the Spezia Avkada, which we've seen before in the 7th, but 5 AKSUs or AKS-74Us, SVD, RPG-18. It is a Special Forces shock trait squad, so really good at close range. Airborne with GSR traits, so when they're stationary, their optics go from very good to exceptional. And they can also be brought in with an Avkada SPW-60PB, which is, yeah, Recon BTR, which is very nice indeed. So, yeah, solid squads for sure in the Recon. All right, anti-air. Strela 2M. It's all right. 4 HE, 2,475 meter range. It's got kind of one of the worst manpads, but there it is. Now you can get an option here to use the UAZ or the SPW-152 ZPU-2, which does come with the like twin machine gun on it, which can engage helicopters and actually damage infantry over time. So this combination may make it worth bringing. But otherwise, you're probably just better off bringing these, like the ZU-23-2s. They're pretty reliable at shooting down helicopters and damage infantry well. Then there's the ZPU-2 on a truck for 30 points. I mean, you might as well just bring this combo if you want to do that. Interesting unit though. There's the Igla as an option, which is a bit more reliable because it's got the extra range, and accuracy. So 50% accuracy over 35% accuracy, and you get an extra 200 meter range, which means the range scaling is better. Yeah, Igla's just all round better. There's the SPW-40P2 Strela, which is 5 HE, 2,650 meter range, 50% static accuracy, 40% on the move. So it's still pretty accurate on the move, and it's very fast. So very useful to have. There's the Shilka, great for finishing off low health aircraft with a little cheeky burst, and great for shooting down helicopters. And then there's the Strela 10M, which is just as accurate on the move as it is stationary. Really good range against helicopters, 2,825 meter range with 5 HE. And then there's the Kub, which is 3 missiles with 9 HE, 5,125 meter range against aircraft. Very nice. You're just going to want to make sure you micro the radar on these, particularly with the Marine helicopter now on the US side having the SEAD missiles as well. You're going to have to look out for those. So extra important that you're microing your radar, which you do in WARNO by just turning off the weapon system. Right, helicopters, Mi-8TV with the rockets. It's got triple rocket pods on both sides. That's very nice indeed. And then you've got the Mi-24P with cocons. So 20 pen, 2,800 meter range for 55% accuracy. It's not quite an attacker, but it's still a decent ATGM. You're getting 40 rockets and the machine gun with 10% ECM. Yeah, so like usually Mi-24s, they do get that little bit of ECM, which is very helpful alongside their armor. But obviously, as I mentioned, the Recon one didn't have the extra ECM. Regardless, yeah, decent helicopter choices. And then the air tab. So MiG-21 with a rocket loadout. So 10 122mm rockets and 32 57mm rockets. Interesting, like how much longer that takes to supply, but yeah, regardless, you could just bring it in, turn off the 57s and use the 122s for 125 points. Probably still be really good. 10% ECM, 1,125 kilometers per hour speed. More of a 1v1 unit, but yeah, could be useful in a pinch in like larger team game maps. Got the MiG-21 cluster here. Now this is pretty good. Usually I wouldn't rate 250 kilogram cluster much, but because these dive and the concentration of bombs is usually quite dense, they are pretty effective. So 10% ECM, again really fast, 1,125 kilometers per hour speed. And then you got the NAPALM MiG, which is actually 2 napalm, 2 HE bombs. So going to be effective for cleaning up some infantry squads. And again, I would say it's relatively cheap. Like if you have like a couple, like 2 or 3 stacked up, relatively close, probably worth using the MiG to kill them. And then there's the MiG-21 with the air-to-air. So 6 R60s available, 55% accuracy. Not bad. Now, bear in mind, I think it's probably going to take 3 of these, right, to hit in order to actually kill something. So that is something to bear in mind. But you're going to be able to shoot down helicopters easy enough with it, because you only need to hit 2 on a helicopter to shoot them down most of the time. 10% ECM, 1,125 kilometer per hour speed again. Yeah, it's okay. Then you've got the MiG-23 MF. So you're taking 4 R60s. So you've got that same stats on the R60, but you're getting an R23R, which is the 7,075 meter range 5 HE missile, but it is semi-active instead of fire and forget. Only 40% accuracy. I do find that these let me down quite a lot, even though they do have like that extra ECM and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Su-22s, they're fantastic. So we've got a Su-22 here with the KH-25ML. 30 penetration is really strong, but the range is limiting. So 3,325 meter range is when you're going to start aiming. 50% accuracy. But then you've got to make sure you keep on target because it's semi-active. So you kind of got to be facing the target in order to get the missile to work. Which means this is basically diving the target every time. So it's maybe not as good as like some of the ones that can get fire and forget. But 30% ECM. Then there's the Su-22 M4P with the KH-28 anti-radiation missiles, which are really good. And this is a fantastic setup, like 4,750 meter range. You get 40% ECM. Like, yeah, these things are pretty nasty. And then there's the HE bomber with the Su-22 M4 with the 6 500 kilogram bombs. Great payload for just obliterating swaths of infantry or light vehicles. It might struggle to kill tanks, but otherwise, yeah, pretty good. 30% ECM. Again, all the Su-24s are just super nice. Yeah, you've also got the option here, because they run R60s, particularly something cheaper, or even like the Seed one, you can use it to shoot down enemy helicopters pretty easy. All right, well, that's that. Let's move back to the logistics tab and put together a quick deck. So I'm probably just going to use kind of like how fast these are off-road, so I'm going to take those, and we'll take some Kraz. Artillery-wise, we definitely need a fob. And I'm going to bring some of these SBW40 PKs, or P2s, sorry. I'm going to bring that grenade launcher team, really interesting. Definitely bringing in 80 gems. Otherwise, what do I want? I think the VPB is okay. The Pioneer with the flamethrower, sure. I don't know if I want to bring them with the SBW50PK. Yeah, I guess we will. Okay, we definitely bring in the Motostrelki with the BMP2s. And I might just upvet those. Then it's a matter of like, what else do I want? I think Reservisten is probably the play. And in terms of leader, Reservistenführer is, I think, the best bet in this tab. Yeah. We'll take some of these Sicherungs. Do I want some military police? I don't think I really need them. I think it might just be more Reservisten. Or MOT-SCHUTZEN BTR. Or even just Panzerjägers to mix amongst the Reservisten. Yeah, maybe we do that. Okay. It's a lot of infantry. It really is. We definitely bring in the Napalm. Definitely bring in SPW 50 PKs and probably mortars. I think that's going to be the artillery tab. Might want to bring in some long guns, but not at the moment. We'll just go T64. If I have spare points, I'll come back to artillery and add long guns. I really want to just like spam all of these Malyukas and Konkers. I don't rate this leader very much. It's very expensive. This leader's way better. For 90 points. We'll bring in these reserve boys. And then I guess we can just upvet some T55s or T64s. And use those as well. Actually going to drop that card. Okay. Moving on, we're definitely taking this business Aufkleider with the BTR Recon. We'll take this one with the MI24. We're going to take the BRM1. Going to pop some SBWs in there. That'll do for now. AA wise, Cubs. Upvet them. Strela. Probably Igla. Then we run the MO24 and airwise. I kind of just want to run like Su-24 seed with bomber, maybe something like that. I don't really see the need for a lot of this stuff. These are all sort of cheap options for 1v1s. In terms of anti-tank though, we're really sorted. I don't think that's too much of a problem. Got a lot of 8 gems. And there'd be an argument to be made that maybe I should just like unvet these and have just 4 cubs with unvet, but so much less effective. Getting the 5% extra accuracy on those missiles is so nice. And if they like vet up in game, and then you also get like a leader with them, you can get some serious veterancy and accuracy on those, which is nice. Which is way better than having any of these fighters. Just would I want the cluster bombers to deal with any like super heavies? Like M1A, 1HAs, like how do I deal with those? Like even with the amount of H gems I have, I don't know if it's enough. Also, I don't know if I have enough recon infantry. You know, have to be very cautious with that. I think for now we'll leave it there. And it's another one of those divisions where I'm going to have to really play it and test it to find out where the limits are. But otherwise, pretty interesting. I don't know if it's as interesting as some of the other divisions so far, but I think there's a lot of smoke play potential with this tech. That's probably what it's going to rely on. Alright, well, hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about this division in the comments. And I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.